As newer gadgets like smartphones arrive, the old ones die, never to be seen again. But we feel they're worth remembering. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 gadgets that disappeared from our lives after smartphones. 25. Landlines and payphones. When the first cell phone was invented in 1973, it was a game changer. You didn't have to be stuck in an office or your home to make a call. In fact, it seemed incredible back then. Landlines and payphones suffered as cell phones became a part of people's lives over the decades. Then the smartphone hit the market, at which point cumbersome landlines and dirty payphones became, well, pretty obsolete. Factors such as improved network coverage and enhanced features on the smartphone meant you could do all your communicating in one handy little device. I'd show mine, but I'm using it to film this, so it's up there. 24. Cameras. Sure, you have a camera on your phone, but did you know there's a separate thing called a camera that people used to take pictures with before smartphones were invented? I'm kidding, of course. The fact is, increasing numbers of people are taking photos and shooting footage on their phones. Even professional filmmakers are making movies with smartphones. For example, the acclaimed director Steven Soderbergh shot his 2018 thriller Unsane on an iPhone 7 Plus. 23. The Walkman. People of a certain generation get excited when you mention the Walkman. It may not look like much today, however, this portable machine gave people thousands of hours of listening pleasure. It's been upgraded over the years from a chunky tape player to a digital device, but these days the smartphone has the Walkman beat. They're a lot more convenient and offer as many music tracks as your ears can handle. The classic Walkmans only played one tape at a time, and if you weren't careful, the mechanism would chew up your favorite albums. 22. Dictaphones. So many gadgets that used to be purchased separately are now found in one place. That place being your smartphone. Before the smartphone was released, in the 90s, people recorded audio on a dictaphone. You can see them in old movies and shows and such, typically being used by journalists. However, in the 21st century, it's easier to speak into the microphone on your phone. Plus, the dictaphones didn't have options for editing, whereas the smartphone is like a professional edit suite that you hold in your hand. 21. Low-cost computing. Now that consumers complete work tasks, watch movies, and check their messages entirely on their phones, the humble PC, laptop, and netbook are going out of style. It's better for your eyesight if you use a bigger screen, of course, but if you're on a busy commute, a pocket-sized smartphone is way easier to handle than a laptop. The old school machines, like laptops, also used to be a great option for someone on a low budget. However, because some newer devices are now quite affordable, they've been overtaken in the marketplace. 20. Portable TVs. There was a time when a small portable television was the must-have item for TV addicts on the move. Provided you could pick up a signal via the attached aerial, you were golden. The first portable TVs were released in the 50s and became highly popular. Sadly for manufacturers, the digital revolution led to devices that slipped into your pocket without a cable or antenna in sight. You can still buy portable TVs, but they just don't have that same magic about them anymore. 19. Watches. Remember when someone would ask you the time and you'd look at your wrist? Wristwatches were definitely super useful between their invention in 1810 and the early 21st century, but times change, as they say. Smartphones gave us everything we need regarding the hour and date with extreme accuracy. There are no hassles involved, like having to wind them up or adjust them according to the time of year. Wristwatches remain in demand, of course, particularly in areas such as luxury watch design. That said, smartphones do the job of a traditional watch for most people. I don't have mine on. Smartwatch too, love those. Also, if you're feeling up for it, you can try the tongue twister Irish wristwatch. So, enjoy. 18. Pocket calculator. People know about calculators in their smartphones, but maybe they aren't aware that calculators were a separate gadget in the first place. Some of you watching this video are so young you probably don't know that the pocket calculator used to be a thing in and of itself. This was how previous generations used to add, subtract, type naughty words, and other tasks. Just flip it upside down. 17. Home security systems. Home security systems aren't disappearing from our lives. Well, if they are, then my house and contents are in big trouble. But no, I'm referring to how smartphones have taken over the way we operate these systems. From video doorbells to acting as your very own guard dog, you can do it all from the comfort of your chair. A few swipes later and that burglar is ready to be bagged by the cops. The old way of doing things is definitely beginning to disappear. 16. Flashlight. When you get lost in the dark in the 21st century, there's no reason to sweat it. You simply take out your smartphone and activate the light function. It's a lot of people's first thought, unless they're carrying an old school flashlight. The trouble is that it doesn't fit very conveniently in your pocket. It isn't all good though, because if your smartphone battery is low, it actually won't allow you to turn the light on. 15. Photography equipment. Smartphone cameras are now incredibly sophisticated. Add all the tools that come with these phone packages, and it's no wonder that consumers choose them for photography over expensive lighting equipment and such. There will always be a place for that kind of thing with professional photographers and filmmakers. However, camera equipment in general is starting to look increasingly specialized in nature, thanks to the capabilities of the smartphone. 14. Alarm clocks. Alarm clocks used to be pretty harsh to wake up to. The design, introduced in 1787, went from something that looked like a gadget in Harry Potter to the classic round timepiece with those bells on either side. When they started ringing, you definitely knew about it. Smartphones have taken a lot of the stress out of setting an alarm. Some sounds are so pleasant to hear that it almost becomes a pleasure getting out of bed in the morning. Almost. 13. Radios. Why have a bulky old radio specifically for listening to your favorite stations when you can easily stream content through your smartphone? Whether this change in listening habits has had a positive or a negative effect on the industry is unclear. Some people like it this way, including musicians trying to get their releases heard. The old days of struggling to secure a slot on a traditional station in order to get exposure are becoming a thing of the past. 12. Keyboards. Physical keyboards have a few disadvantages compared to what we can do with our smartphone touchscreens. Aside from the obvious buildup of bacteria from your fingers, a keyboard takes up space and it can be noisy if you're typing in a hurry. Not only have smartphones made keyboards a part of their screen, they've also removed the need for a keyboard altogether through voice to text. 11. Sat-navs. Satellite navigation was once a new and exciting concept, and people were happy to have devices stuck on their dashboards telling them where to go in an annoying voice. The devices and the annoying voices are still around, but the whole business has been streamlined thanks to smartphones. Your phone doubles as your navigation system, giving you a palm-sized, pocket-friendly guide that you can take wherever you go, be it behind the wheel or wandering the streets. Do you still own any gadgets that are seen as old school? Let me know in the comments, but make sure to finish the video first. 10. Remotes. Changing the channel on your TV has undergone a transformation thanks to smartphones. Using a plain old battery-operated remote is now seen as an outdated part of the process due to mobile apps that can control smart devices. Viewers can now talk directly to their TVs, and if they're using a remote through an app, well, they don't need to worry about objects blocking the connection between the handheld remote and the receiver. 9. Medical equipment. Did you know that your smartphone is capable of monitoring your blood pressure? Gradually, smart tech is performing tasks that used to be fulfilled by large pieces of equipment in hospitals. It's important to note that the apps aren't seen as a replacement for this equipment just yet. They can monitor blood pressure and other internal workings of the human body, but for a proper check and diagnosis, you should consult a trained medical professional. Plus, modern tech doesn't eliminate the anxiety you feel as you're waiting for all those important test results. Either way, though, it's making things run a lot smoother. Like my smart ring. Not a phone, though. 8. Portable gaming machines. When was the last time you used a dedicated handheld games console? Probably not for a while, because the Game Boy and such have been assimilated into the world of smartphones. Our devices are a one-stop destination for all kinds of entertainment, with games forming a major part of the fun. Everything from Fallout to Scrabble are available to download with just a couple of swipes and taps. 7. Taxi meters. Smartphones are impacting the business of taxi driving in some truly dramatic ways. The expression, "there's an app for that," most definitely applies here. Instead of the customer anxiously watching the old school meter as it racks up those dollars, they're charged according to up-to-the-minute data, which is collected and calculated through the likes of Uber. You can even get around any awkwardness by paying remotely for your journey in advance. 6. Fax machines. Whew, I am going way back for this next gadget. Does anyone remember fax machines? You may even still have one, in which case, welcome to the 21st century. The gadget became popular in the 60s where it enabled people to transmit documents between their respective fax machines. Having fed the document into the machine, it would then be printed out at the receiver's end, though it wasn't always exactly speedy at doing so. They also had a tendency to make loud screeching sounds. If you think the notification sounds you get on your smartphone are irritating, you haven't heard anything yet. 5. Answering machines. These devices used to record messages from callers via a cassette tape. These days, that kind of machine just isn't necessary, with smartphones screening calls and letting you know who's calling in a more instinctive and intelligent way. When a little something called voicemail came along, it made the old answering machines, well, pretty redundant. You're more likely to see one in a museum than a 21st century home or office now. 4. Personal digital assistants. Personal digital assistants, otherwise known as PDAs, look like crude versions of the tablets we use today. They were an important part of people's work routines, and they were popular between the early 90s and late 2000s. Back then, using a stylus to write on a screen was a big deal, and you certainly completed a lot of big deals with the help of your trusty PDA. Does anyone remember the actual fonts you had to use to get these to work? Like the R, everything had to be done in one stroke. You couldn't lift or else it would think you'd be done with the letter. So like R had to be like, oh no, like K had to just be just the actual, that part. So you had to go, oh yeah. Oh, it had its own alphabet. 3. E-readers. Another amazing gadget that has faced serious opposition from the smartphones is the e-reader. The Kindle or the Nook have lost out to smartphones in some ways, because consumers can access multiple resources on their phone. Part of the deal with e-readers was that they provided a more economical alternative to buying books. However, with a smartphone, you can multitask without needing to put your e-reader down and pick up another device. E-readers disappeared from some people's homes once smartphones caught up in terms of quality. Although I will still back e-readers for 2 reasons. The e-ink is much better for your eyes, and the fact that it's only an e-reader means you can't get distracted while reading. So I will still vouch, I love my Kindle Oasis. So, and they're better for bigger things like manga or comics and stuff like that. So, still love mine. 2. Photo scanners. Once smartphones were able to scan images through their cameras, well, the game was over for flatbed scanners. With the smartphone, you can take a picture and the sophisticated tech inside the device does the rest. The scanner is still a great thing to use, but you have to pay a lot more attention. Plus, any specks of dirt you missed have to be painstakingly removed afterward. That said, experts recommend the flatbed scanner over photo apps that are intended to be used casually rather than professionally. 1. Stopwatches. The trouble with classic stopwatches is that you can only use them one way. You press a button to start, and you press it to stop. Smartphones have built-in stopwatches that feature a range of options. You can configure your countdown for a more personal experience. Also, you can select different timers. With some smartphones, you can set multiple timers to cover various tasks. So it's really like having several timers all in one. Counting down or up has never been more convenient. Now, if you enjoyed our rundown of handy gadgets that are going out of style, then you'll love my killer question on all things tech related. And that question is, how did the gadget company Asus get its name? Was it A, Asus was the name of the founder's family dog? B, it's short for Pegasus, and they dropped the first 3 letters to put themselves higher up in the search list alphabetically? C, Asus is an abbreviation of absolutely sustainable, or is it D, the word Asus is Latin for book? Let us know your answers in the comments below. And also, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content. And I will catch you guys next time. Just gonna go send a fax. I'll be right back.